Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम. वेलकम टू माई इंग्लिश क्लास. हम आज देखने वाले 4.3 चेजिंग द सी मॉन्स्टर. चेजिंग द सी मॉन्स्टर. Jules Verne, a French writer, is known as the father of science fiction. He wrote about rocket, space travel, and submarine when such things were unknown. In this passage from this novel, 24,000 League Under the Sea, he described how people on a ship think of the submarine as an animal and try to chase and hunt it. इस जो ये कहानी है वो नावल 20,000 लीग अंडर द सी से ली गई है, जिसके राइटर जूली वर्नी है. वो एक फ्रेंच राइटर है और उन्होंने जो है साइंस फिक्शन पे बहुत सारी कहानियाँ लिखी है और वो फादर ऑफ साइंस फिक्शन कहलाते हैं. तो उन्होंने इस कहानी में दिखाया है कि कैसे लोग जो है एक सबमरीन को एनिमल मतलब एक समंदरी हैवान समझ के उसका पीछा करके उसका शिकार करने की कोशिश करते. Certain words are used to refer the location on the ship to its part. Read the meaning given below and find word and the location part in the picture given below. तो ये थोड़ा सा वार्निंग या एक्सरसाइज कर लेंगे कि शिप में जो है कौन सी चीज़ क्या कहलाती है. तो फोर एंड आफ्टर. तो यार्ड अ पोल स्लंग अक्रॉस अ शिप. मस्ट अ स्नेल हंग फ्रॉम द यार्ड. फिर उसके बाद आता मस्ट. ये इलाका मस्ट कहलाता है. अ टॉल अपराइट पोल ऑन अ शिप. फिर उसके बाद है बो, द फॉरवर्ड पार्ट ऑफ द मेन बॉडी ऑफ द. उसके बाद हम देखते हैं बो द फॉरवर्ड पार्ट ऑफ द मेन बॉडी ऑफ द शिप. उसके बाद है डेक. तो जैसे कि आपको पता ही है डेक क्या होता है. वो फ्लैट एरिया बिल्ड ऑन अ शिप. जो फ्लैट एरिया होता है शिप के उसको डेक कहते हैं. फोर कैसल द फॉरवर्ड पार्ट ऑफ द डेक का जो है आगे का हिस्सा. स्टैंडअप बोर्ड. तो स्टैंडअप बोर्ड होता है द राइट हैंड साइड ऑफ द शिप हैज़ वन फेसेस फॉरवर्ड. ठीक है. और स्टर्न द रियर मोस्ट बैक पार्ट ऑफ द शिप. बैक पार्ट जो शिप का होता है वो स्टर्न कहलाता है. आफ्टर डेक. तो जो ओपन पार्ट होता है डेक पर, ओपन डेक नियर द बैक इज कॉल्ड द आफ्टर डेक. फोर द पार्ट विच इज़ ऑलवेज एट द फ्रंट वाइल द शिप इज सेलिंग. हमेशा जो आगे की तरफ होता है जब शिप सेल करती है. तो या आप अपनी बुक में भी बना के इसकी प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हो या फिर आप इसको देखकर लिखकर भी समझ सकते हो. फिर उसके बाद हम बढ़ते हैं चेजिंग द सी मॉन्स्टर पर. अवर फ्रिगेट वांटेड टू गो बैक बट द अनअर्थी एनिमल कम एट विथ अ स्पीड डबल आवर ओन. वी गैप्स. More stunned than afraid, we stood mute and motionless. The animal caught up with us, play with us. It made a full circle around the frigate and wrapped us in a sheet of electricity that were like the luminous dust. At any instant, it could abort the dash against our ship. Meanwhile, it was surprised to see that our warship was feeling, not fighting. I commented on this to Commander Frigate. His face ordinary so motionless, so great astonishment. Professor Ernox, he answered me, I don't know what kind of fearsome creature I am up against, and I don't want my frigate running foolish risk in all this darkness. Besides, how should we attack this unknown creature? How should we defend ourselves against it? Let's wait for the daylight and then we will play a different role. The whole crew stay on their feet all night long. No one even thought of sleeping. Unable to compete with the monster's speed, our frigate, the Abraham Lincoln, slowed down. For its part, the animal mimicked the frigate, simply rode with the waves, but did not leave the field of battle. However, near the midnight it disappeared. Or to use a more appropriate expression, it went out like a huge glowworm. Had it filled from us? We didn't know where, filled with fear and hope at the same time. But at 12:53, a defending hiss could be heard, resembling the sound made by the water spout expelled with the tremendous intensity by the commandant frigate. Ned Land and I were on the afterdeck, peering eagerly into the darkness. Tell me, Ned Land, isn't that the noise Satanists make when they spurt water from their blowholes? The very noise, sir, but this one's way louder, so there can be no mistake. There is definitely a whale lurking in our waters. Near 2 o'clock in the morning, the core of the light appeared 5 miles away from the Abraham Lincoln. We stayed on the alert until daylight, getting ready for action. Whaling gear was set up along the railing. Our chief officer loaded the blunderbushes, which can launch harpoons as far as a mile, and a long duck gun with exploding bullets that can wound and kill even the most powerful animals. Ned Land was connected to sharpen his harpoon, a dreadful weapon in his hand. At 6 o'clock, day began to break, and when the dawn early light, the animal electric glow disappeared. At 7 o'clock, a little dense morning mist spread around us. Our best spy glasses were unable to pierce it. The outcoming disappointment and anger. At 8 o'clock, the mist rolled away and the horizon grew wider and clear. Suddenly, Ned Land's voice could be heard. There is the thing in the question. Astern to port, the harpooner shouted. Every eye looked towards the point indicated. There, a mile and a half from the frigate, a long blackish body emerged a meter above the waves. Quivering violently, its tail was creating a considerable current.